What is up, guys? Welcome back to A Talk on Titan. This is our review of episode 25 of season 4, the final season of Attack on Titan. This episode is called, I believe it's called The Night of End or The Night of the End. I am here with two very special guests from Comics Plus. I have Mr. Akasan himself and Marta herself. How are you guys doing today?
What's going on?
Hey, doing great.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys coming on right after you saw the episode. So these are going to be your
literally 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Just finished. Yeah.
Perfect. I absolutely love it. For anyone who doesn't know, you guys do the channel Comics Plus. You could find it. It's Comics Plus by Akasan on YouTube as well. So make sure you guys check that out. You guys have been watching Attack on Titan for a little bit now. I'm kind of curious to hear your backstory as far as, are you guys like a season 2 starter? Did you start with season 3? Did you start all the way back in season 1? I'll start with you, Martha.
I started off.
Sorry, but Martha.
My bad.
Sorry, you triggered me. You triggered the Batman in me.
Yes. Martha.
I started all the way back in season 1. I watched season 1 twice. Did not watch the movie. I watched a little bit of the movie and I was like, this is season 1. So I skipped the movie and then just continued from there. But it did take me a long time to finally want to pick up the show again after that really, really long hiatus. And
yes, I remember.
I think bull crap with the movie. That's my personal opinion about the movie.
Yeah.
But so I've been watching from the beginning. Yeah.
Nice. How about you, Akasan?
From the beginning, from day one, when the show first started, I was in. I think at that time, I was actually in Fukuoka at that time, which is the southern side of Japan, and so I was just chilling in Fukuoka. It was a nice show that came on at like 1 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning. And I was just watching it, and it was just like a great, that's my heart right there in the background, just reminiscing. That's why they're sending the ambulance right now.
That's my window. Sorry.
That's a good old New York City.
Let me go close the window. I'm so sorry.
Gotham City doing a damn thing right there. But no, I was just so amazed with what this particularly unique at that time. It was a very unique show, and nobody was really talking about this show. It was selling decently. The manga itself was selling decently, but it was a show that people grew to be really obsessed with. And I just remember watching the show, and I'm like, this is such a weird story, such a weird European-based story. The very typical tale, or a very old fantasy style tale of Jack and the Beanstalk, Fee Fi Fo Thumb, man versus giant, with a lot of Danish and European sort of influences. But what attracted me, and I think everybody else in the beginning, was the animation and the storytelling. Anime at that moment in time had never had such a unique sort of take on combining, again, the European sort of influences with Spider-Man like web slinging. Then what stuck with everybody was just the theme song. That first theme song that came out was just like, you knew something was going to be good, because most anime, even to this day, a lot of animes do not have like a strong, heavy sort of theme song like that. It's usually mixed in with whatever Japanese company is promoting it, Sony or Amex, Avex track, like that. So it's usually like a J-pop sort of mix or something like that. To create such a song and have Jaeger in it was just such a wild take that it became super, super popular over time. So I still remember my time in Japan. Well, I'm still here, but my time in Japan, in Fukuoka, going to the cherry blossoms, and you see a few people wearing the Survey Corps logo, and you'd be like, hey, Shinso Sasage, oh baby, and then everybody be like, yeah, like that. Yeah. So it was such a cult sort of fascination that it didn't really hit me how big it was in America until years later, because like in my opinion, it didn't actually get so popular in America right away. Like there was the core fandom that was into it, but it didn't blow up until years later, after the movie came out, after they started doing season 3, and that's where it got in my opinion, a little strange with some of the fandom, and the fandom got a little toxic overseas. But that first couple of years, going to museums, going to the exhibitions, going to the mangaka's hometown and seeing the actual real life dam that inspired the story, it was just a beautiful thing, because the only people I was talking to about the story were Japanese people, and that was enough for me. So yeah.
I have to ask about that too. How is it following the show while being in Japan? How is the audience there, especially now in the final season? Are they, watching it along? Is it like a lot of people, viewers at the same time, watching along at the same time, or is it more
So
like hardcore
right.
based?
So Japan is interesting in a different aspect, as you like. Otaku are super fans, or so, like geeks and like they don't talk about shows that they like. Actually, they don't really converse, and they don't really get together, and like they'll be on like 4chan or like online websites, like those people will be up there talking about the manga. But when it comes to anime, I've noticed that nobody really debates it so much, and they don't really talk about it and have conversations about it, because generally the hardcore fans have read the manga, and that's just about it. So I have the benefit of I have 2 friends. My girlfriend has read the manga, and then my other friend is the same way, where she reads like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's only manga based. That's it. Like when the anime comes out, it's kind of just like, oh well, I already read it in the manga, so I kind of know what happens, so I don't really care that much about the anime when it comes out, with the exception of something like Demon Slayer, like that, where Demon Slayer is very exceptional in the animation. So my girlfriend will wake up that day and check it out on Netflix, and if it stands out, she'll be like, "Hey, yo, that episode was like a movie." The last couple of episodes of Demon Slayer, she was like, "Hey, that was like a movie," like that. But with Shingeki, she's not. She read the manga, the final manga. That was like a year ago when it ended, so she's in no rush to watch the anime at all, because she was like, "Meh, I know what happens already, so I don't really care." So I was like, "Wow, okay." So it's
I think
very
that's why
different.
I think that's why I prefer to watch the anime first now. Like
Yeah,
it depends on what kind of manga it is
yeah,
for me to get excited, to watch the anime. But I am very much like, anime is what started it for me, really.
yeah.
So I'm more drawn to the anime. I love like the music. I love seeing it in color and like the characters coming to life and the voices. But yeah, I can understand that you're just like, well, all right, I'm in no rush.
I get
Yeah.
it. No, I
That's why
totally
I
get it.
like
But
watching the anime first and
and that's
then
what killed
reading
it.
it.
Yeah, that I think what, like you mentioned it earlier, Marta. That's what kind of killed it, was that 2-year break. People were
Yeah.
pissed. Like,
I was pissed. I was
I was
really
pissed too.
pissed. I was
but
so
to be fair,
mad.
one thing you guys got to realize is that no, I don't think nobody expected that show to blow up the way it did in that first season. And at that point in time, people were actually concerned, because the show already essentially caught up to the manga, and people were just like, well, wait, where is this story gonna go? Because we have no idea. And even the author himself was like, okay, I need to actually figure out how to continue this story. But there were like exhibitions, there was already a movie, there was a spin-off movie, there was Attack on Titan high school version of it, there was a giant exhibition at Universal Studios called Cool Japan, where you had a giant
Colossal.
Titan Eden.
Oh, yeah.
You had all of this stuff going on, and it was so blown out of proportion that everybody was just like, what's happening? Because they didn't have enough material to even start another season, hence the reason for that long break.
Yeah, it
So
was
it was
just
very
it was
interesting.
bad timing. I feel like it was just bad timing because
I
I
just
know
think
some
they didn't
people.
expect it. Yeah.
I have some friends who just didn't who just have not watched it since. I'm in back in school now, and so I'm around like much younger people than me. And I asked, I tell them, I'm like, oh, are you watching, Demon Slayer? Yeah, we're watching Demon Slayer. Oh, you watching Attack on Titan? No. Like a bunch of them aren't watching Attack on Titan, and I think it's because some of them have like specifically said it's because of that hiatus, and they were
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, it just
It makes sense.
fizzled
There's
out.
certain,
My
yeah.
attention was drawn somewhere else, and then they
Yep.
continued with other series, and that was that. Which is
There's certain,
unfortunate because they asked me, they were like, was it good? I'm like, yeah, it's really good now. You should watch it.
yeah, but see, yes and no, because I think that killed it for a lot of people. Season 3 for me almost killed my fascination with Attack on Titan because of the fact that it moved away from that fee fi fo like simple story, man versus giant, and it started getting into this like pseudo Game of Thrones ish politics of like different regions. I'm like, this is I was like, this is boring as hell. Now, more manga people already knew things were about to pick up and it was going to get crazy. But if you were watching the anime on it, understandably, that story with Historia and all of that going on got really boring to the point where you're just like, yo, I just wanted them to fight Titans. I don't care about this higher government thing. And like now, knowing what we know now, obviously, but that was such a hard reach to build up into. That season 3 was really hard for many people to carry over. And to answer Andrea's comment, I a lot of my Japanese students and Japanese friends that I talk to, they stopped watching the show since season 3 because they were like, we have no idea, like I have no idea what's going on. And I have one student who's watched the show twice, a season, the final season, part 1. He's watched it twice and he had no idea what was going on.
Oh,
That time
wow.
jump that they did confused the hell out of a lot of people. So it's interesting. It's just interesting that I think as a casual fan, it's really hard to get back into Attack on Titan. But if you're really into it and like the lore and all that, and like you've really felt like adapted to these new changes, it's a very rewarding.
Yeah, I really do feel like it's extremely rewarding, especially for someone who only watches the anime. I read the manga afterwards. I love just watching the anime first time, just getting an actual reaction and seeing, like what you said, Marta, seeing the music, the voice acting, everything just kind of come together. Really is something special to me. I gotta ask too, what do you guys? How are you guys feeling so far about season 4? Because I know season 4 has been kind of a mixed bag for people as a whole. But as it is right now, all the way up to episode 25, how are you guys feeling about season 4? I'll start with you, Marty. Again.
Which part?
Oh yeah, 1 or 2?
Both.
The whole thing?
All together, yeah.
Okay, let's see. I see, like, I'm fresh off of this last episode, which I wasn't crazy about, so that's kind of like in the forefront attitude of my mind right now.
Sure. Do you guys feel like
I have to
the
look.
past few episodes, have they been the weakest for you?
Not necessarily the weakest.
Okay.
Right.
Some of them have the slow pacing. We're at a slow pace right now, and when you get to a slow pace, it can get kind of boring. But then there were some really important, exciting, like informational nuggets that like are super freaking important, and like big reveals, and just. I guess to answer the question, I would say that overall I am very satisfied with it. It's just taking so long. It's taking so long. Yeah. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it to be over, but I don't want it to be over. I'm very conflicted. There are a lot of really exciting parts that just had me shook, and a lot of interesting deaths that had me shook. So I'm happy with it so far. I have nothing really else to compare it to because I haven't read the manga. So yeah, I'm happy. I think I'm iffy about the pacing, but we'll see how I feel at the conclusion of
There
it,
goes
yes.
another fandom's heart right there. Yeah, dying off. I see the way I support. I show it the same way. I look at it the same way. Like I've had this situation with other American properties, where you're watching a weekly sort of show. Not every episode can be balls to the wall, like insane. Like not everybody has developed the hero's finessed cliffhanger situation. Like there's some stories that are written to be very episodic, and where every episode is just like, oh my god, the next episode, where you see the credits and you're just like, oh no, you want more. But something we have to remember is a lot of this is based off of manga, and the manga, the way the manga is written is it's not written for television. So then when they adapt something for an episodic 23-minute type of thing, it can be very challenging to that's why sometimes a lot of animes will shift stories around, to make it more interesting, based on, because the manga will sometimes be this sort of flatlining situation of building up for more stuff. So the way I see it, I'm like, look, season 4 was the beginning of part 1 was like balls to the wall exciting, and then it got quiet for a bit, and then it sort of built up to this point where just like and then we had to take almost a year break again, which I kind of understood. That's the thing. Then part 2 started, and Twitter just exploded. Every week was like must see TV, and so I knew at some point we can't have 2 months. It was like 8 episodes of just like balls to the wall excitement or just conversation. I'm like, yo, we can't have that many. We can't have 2 months. Like it can't keep going like this forever. So I'm having acceptance of these next couple of episodes, just kind of being like, look, it's going to be the calm again before the final thing. My biggest concern, and I think a lot of people need to be ready for this, is the fact that the TV show as it is may end like this. It might actually just end. The entire series may end like this, before the final battle, going into a movie. And I think that's what a lot of people need to be ready for, because I keep hearing rumors in Japan and overseas, is the fact that everything is getting set up so it can all be told in one big 2-hour story that will basically be a movie. And if that's the case, knowing the way Japan releases work, y'all around the world are gonna have to wait for a while for that to come out.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be the worst cliffhanger of all time.
Yep. And people will be mad about that. So I think mentally people do need to be ready that it may not end on the TV show, or it will eventually, but it's going to come out like Demon Slayer, and it's going to be told through a movie first, and then you guys will get it, or people will get it on TV later. But yeah,
can we go into logistics real quick? As far as we're on episode 25, do we officially have 3 episodes left? Is that right?
I don't know if it's official.
There was someone put in our Discord.
I think it's 3 episodes left, and I think they said it would be in April, sometime in April.
I know they're taking a break.
Yeah, they're taking a break. I believe the 27th of March, I think is what they said, end of the month. But either way, that does not sound like a lot of time for a conclusion,
right?
For the end of the world.
Satisfying conclusion at that, because with Game of Thrones, we saw what they did with Game of Thrones. It was very rushed conclusion.
We can rush this, but we do not want to rush it.
Right.
I would definitely prefer a movie than to do a 20-minute super rushed version of a finale. I would actually want to wait for a movie than rushing the finale for sure. But to me, knowing that it's probably 3 episodes left or around there, it definitely feels like they're probably teasing up to something pretty big, which would be a movie, which again, like you said, Akasan, it would definitely be a while before we in the States get it, which is super disappointing considering it takes forever to get any kind of movie out here.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, because I do have to say that it's not Japan's biggest. They don't mean for this to
Yeah.
be released like this. It's just that it's very hard to fit with worldwide releases anytime. I mean, the reverse is the Batman has not come out in Japan yet. The
Oh, no
Batman.
way.
No, yeah, the Batman. It's welcome to the story of my life here. Every movie is delayed out here, so the Batman doesn't come out until the 11th, March 11th, next
Oh,
week. So the only reason I was able to watch it is because Warner Brothers gave me a early screening, which is essentially coincided with the worldwide release. So you know, if Japan could, they would love to have everything released at the same time. But it just takes time for licensors to be orchestrated, and essentially for the US, Funimation likes to have it all planned out that it doesn't like interfere with anything else that's coming out. So it's very interesting how that all works. So, and of course, people sometimes prefer the dubbed voices, and that's the last thing that Japan likes to do is like leak have all their content out there and just sitting there while it's being recorded. Like, not the best idea. So
I just checked the Discord. Someone is has been making an Excel spreadsheet for us. So according to them, there's going to be 28 episodes. Episode 28 will be the season finale, because they also have like like a column of manga chapters. So according to them, chapter 130 will be episode 28, and then chapters 131 through 140, which is the last chapter of the manga, will be probably the movie.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So definitely 3 episodes left sometime in April, maybe the finale, or the TV finale, I guess is what we can call it.
right.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. But again, if there's that much story to tell, and if there's money to make, and there's definitely money to make there if they do release a movie, that's definitely something they can capitalize on, because I think people would come out for it. I really do feel that way.
I would.
Even out here in the States, I think it would work. I think a lot of people would go out to
I
see it.
prefer just for them to finish it on.
Oh, me too.
Like,
I'm tired of waiting, and I've been waiting long enough. But I definitely feel like there might be a possibility there for them to capitalize on that. But let's quickly jump to this episode, because we have to get to this episode as well. So this episode was definitely a lot slower than last week, or even the past few weeks. We had a meetup with pretty much the rest of the crew from Marley and the rest of the crew from Paradise. So we started out this episode with John's visions or dreams of what potentially could have been his life, or could be his life in this alternate version of events. And I correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this is one of the first times I've seen like an actual POV of John. I don't think we've seen a lot of like John POVs for flashbacks or anything like that, or even flash forwards.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, because we focused on him in the past. Like
Sure.
he's definitely been the centralized focus of after the whole Eden versus Zeke situation. It has really shifted to John being the sort of the, not necessarily the voice of reason, but the voice of understanding why Eden is doing this. Like, he's the only one that has basically been like, okay, I kind of actually get why Eden's doing this, but it's a terrible thing, but what happens next? So, and he's kind of in between dealing with crazy ass Joker dude who used to be his friend or something like that. And he's just like, you know, he's trying to make sense of all of this right now. So but yeah, in terms of a flashback or a dream, no, that like his whole thing season 1 was like, yo, I want to join the military police and live a comfy life and, you know, chill with Mikasa, but it ain't working like that. So
yeah, so we see John get asked by Hanji to meet up, and Hanji gives her speech as far as what she's planning to do, as far as working with Marley and trying to stop Eren, simply because, as she says it, genocide is bad. That was her reasoning. Why are we doing this? And
genocide is bad. Okay, yeah.
And John is like, well, what happens next? And you know, what if Marley attacks again, or what? And she's like, I don't care. Like, genocide is just wrong, and I refuse to believe that everyone's life that is lost would be justified through us just committing genocide. Like she really does feel that weight of responsibility that was kind of placed on her shoulders as commander of the Survey Corps after Irwin gave her that position. I still kind of love kind of that callback to Irwin because Irwin was my favorite character for the longest time. And I really do feel like that episode, I will never forget it, where he chose Hanji to be his replacement. And he says, Hanji, if I die, you're next. You're the commander. I love that moment because I really did feel like that was the right decision in the moment. And I said it in the moment. And obviously, all the way back to now, I can say it with even more confidence because I feel like Hanji brings the sort of reasoning that a lot of people aren't really having right now because they're kind of using their emotions. But how do you guys feel about Hanji reliving all the Survey Corps members, kind of seeing them the way Irwin saw them, and even John kind of tapping into that when he sees Marco?
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was really well done. It's somewhat of a classic trait though in anime. Yeah. So I won't go as far as to say cliche-ish, but it is something that a lot of the main people will start seeing, like the people that have passed before them gets pushed onto them. I mean, they've been doing that since like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball. But it's still kind of cool to see all that. I think it's good. But I also feel like everybody's reasonings are a little strange in general, because they all are having a plan. They all want to do something, but I don't think any of them really realize how insurmountable the task is of reaching Eden right now. And then one thing I was pointing out with Marta was the fact that, if Eden can reach out to everybody, does that also mean that he can hear everything going on at the same way? Isn't it a two-way communication? Like, if he's playing telephone and if he Discord command everyone, in the entire group, does that mean that he can actually tap into what they're all saying outside? Who's to say that he doesn't know that they're coming like that? So
my thing, what I said in response though was that I didn't think so because I think it is only isolated to that sandy world. I call it the sand world. I don't know what else to call it. But yeah, I think it's limited to that.
That's Discord, right? Okay, yeah, okay. So that's Discord. And whatever happens on Paradise Island, that's a completely different server. Got it.
Yeah, okay. I don't necessarily think it can happen, but it would be an interesting plot twist if he could, and then he would just know their plan as they're discussing it and be able to prepare himself that way.
And not to mention, can't he see into the future as well? Doesn't he know everything that will happen and can happen? So wouldn't he just warn himself that something's coming?
I think it's more of he would have to hone in on the moment in time that he wants to go to. I don't think it's necessarily like, again, like Game of Thrones, like seeing everything linear. I think he just has to like pinpoint certain moments perhaps, or maybe certain people, and then it kind of, I don't know. I mean, that's the weird mystical part of this whole thing. That's time travel. It's a timey-wimey thing. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Because we could always argue the fact, and I think a lot of people have done this already, that this is all part of Eren's plan. That somehow he's made himself the enemy, and he knows they're teaming up, and he knows that this team up is the actual saving of the world and not him. And he's trying to be the big bad so that he can eventually be taken down by his own friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, like, I feel like between Eden and Zeke, the two of them are just like these masterminds of crafting these like very crafty plans. And so one of the things I was thinking about was, these past couple episodes is Yelena's role and everything. And now that, she's kind of been disconnected from Zeke, from what we can tell, like, is there a plan within a plan? Was there always like a backup plan if like shit hits the fan and, things went south? What is Yelena supposed to do? What is Zeke supposed to do? Is there a plan to, if Zeke is like incapacitated, is Yelena supposed to step in and do something? Is she supposed to sneak her way into this group and then like sabotage from within? I don't know. I just feel like they're so each of those characters, Yelena, Eren, and Zeke, are so calculated and so careful that I feel like they would definitely have some sort of like backup plan, you know,
Yeah.
or like different scenarios to like, you know, just because it's so this plan is so difficult,
Yeah.
and
No.
there's so many forces, there's so many people that could like change it in a different direction at any moment unpredictably. So to try and get ahead of the game, thinking of all these different scenarios, or maybe I'm just giving them too much credit and
Yeah.
thinking that they're that smart.
Like, yeah, that is very possible. Yeah.
Because I feel like she might have been a little too gung-ho as far as like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
die now. For these past few episodes, I'm not sure. I feel like she was just so devoted to Zeke that anything not 100% with Zeke is kind of not her style, which I don't feel like Eren is anything with Zeke at all anymore.
Right.
So I don't think Yelena is necessarily Team Eren all the way. I just think
Yeah,
she's
no, I
kind
don't
of
think so either.
looking for Zeke, or anything that'll take her back to Zeke is kind of
Yeah.
what she's imagining. I like the way they put it in this episode too, when they said that she would run away with her sweet prince, which I was like, okay, does that tease like a Zeke Yelena, you know,
Ship.
potential romance there?
And technically, would it be bestiality? That's
I mean, she was petting
Yeah.
petting Peak pretty
Oh yeah, that's
I think she's
was-
just a fanatic. She's a fanatic about Titans in general.
It's true.
She's just like, yo, this is the great equalizer. Like
Yeah.
she said it before when she was looking at Eden, Titan Eden's naked ass after crushing the ship. She was like, oh, Titans are God, you know. So
Yeah.
she's like a cult fanatic about Titans. That's all. So in another world, she probably would have been chilling, being a wall purist and everything. So I think they were called Wallace or something. I wonder whatever happened to them. Like did they all get like eliminated or
I
something?
think so. I think
Right?
Eddie killed them all.
Right? Because I'm just like, yo,
Yeah.
they were the only ones that legit knew what was going on. Like
Yeah.
early season 2, first episode of season 2, that one dude, like
Has your name.
we all thought they were crazy, but he was like, yo, cover that wall up. What you doing? Like that. So there was a lot to that story, even way back then. So those Wallace. But the thing I love the most about this particular episode with Elena is like, yo, she brought receipts. She was like, wait, hold on a second. Okay, so Armin, let's see how many people you killed. Reiner, I got you. Oh, I got something for you too. Oh, and then she went all the way back to season 1 and she was like, oh, John, what was his name? Yeah, Marco. Like I was like, yo, you know about Marco too? I was like, yo, that's wild. So yeah, that was great. That was
because
great.
I love how she brought it up too. Like you told me, John. Like like John literally told her. You know, confessing to her what he thought that Annie did. What obviously she did do, but Reiner was a heavy part to play as well. But right up to that point, besides John kind of going at it with McGath, it kind of felt like John was just kind of laughing that off, or he was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we've all done shit. Like, you know, we're over it pretty much, until she mentioned Marco, and until, you know, Reiner brought up Marco. And as soon as Reiner brought up Marco, you know, John said, okay, that's fine. But did he have any last words? And he said, we haven't even talked this through, which is Marco's last words, which John said that's kind of ironic because it's what we're doing now. Like, now we have a chance to talk this through.
Yeah.
And John was still trying to like extend that bridge until Reiner started going back to his soldier ways, where he was just like, oh, but I wanted to save Marco. Marco was my friend. I'm so sorry. And like all this like regretful kind of soldier-ish, non-warrior-ish type attitude. And that just made John snap at Reiner and just completely go after him. But I feel like it's something that it was, I don't know. I think like John needed that, right? Like John needed that kind of moment to just get that out of his system. Something that because I feel like he never really got conclusion as far as what happened to Marco.
I guess so. Which is kind of ironic because thanks Armin for not telling him at all.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, nobody's ever put that. Like, I haven't seen people haven't put this together. Like, you know, Armin knew he can tap into Berto's memory, so he knew that's exactly how it went down. He didn't spend the time to talk to John about that. Like, let him know. That's what happened. I guess he was trying to save him the despair of that. So, you know, it was
I
just
really do
funny.
feel, yeah, and I really do feel like, I don't know if you guys are with me here, because I've been on the John train since season 4, the very beginning of season 4, or actually kind of since like season 3, because I feel like John has been a character that they've been developing, like consistently developing throughout these past 2 seasons as a
Definitely.
character that is something more significant than just like a side character and more
Oh
of a
yeah,
leadership
definitely.
role. And I feel like this episode was like the first episode where I felt like, okay, here we go. Now it's like we start with John's like dreams all the way to John, beating up Aaron, all the way to John forgiving or like apologizing to Gabby, which was a moment as well, kind of him going full arc. How do you feel about John
Well,
being more of a central character?
Well, they've been pushing him as something big, or
Yeah.
not exactly as something big, but they've been pushing him as more than just some like. I wish they spent more time on him than they did with Connie the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, what was up with the Connie things?
but if you remember, even in season 1, they were trying to push John as this de facto leader of one of the core groups. If Mikasa wasn't around, if Levi's not around, and that's why the whole Marco thing was so impactful with John, because Marco was the one that was supporting him. He's like, yeah, man, you can be a leader, you can make this happen. Like you can be more than just a guy just chilling in the military police area. So, and then even the beginning of season 4, you see him with his brand new hairstyle and all that. So there's always been this focus on him as being more than just a guy going around killing people. And that's what's kind of nice about him, is that he sees both sides of this situation. He actually kind of gets what Eden is saying. He just doesn't agree with it. So yeah, I like it. I actually like it. He can very well be set up a lot more than even he could be on that same level as Eren at some point. You never know.
I
Yeah,
think
what
they're
do you think?
building. I think they're building him up to be one of the last people standing. I think there's no doubt about that. Because why would they build someone up and then kill him in the middle of like this mega fight that's inevitable, that's bound to happen? So I think he's going to be the last one standing. I think where he'll be the last one standing will be really interesting to see. Is he going to, whatever the situation is going to turn out to be, whether Paradise Island people and the Marlians and the Ymir, the people of Ymir, that are like in the internment camps in the Marley and Empire, like whatever that situation is going to turn out to be at the end of this final battle, whether they're going to be together, whether they're going to stay separate. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what side he decides to stay on, especially considering I'm trying to think of like things that they show in this episode that are potential foreshadows for later. So like, why did they, like, my question in my head is, why did they show this vision of him in the center of the Paradise Island city and like this nice apartment, this little fantasy land, and he's like, oh, everything happening outside is not real, it's not real, it's not real, like this is what I want to be real. So I'm thinking, is the purpose of that to show that he is going to potentially fulfill that image, but not on Paradise Island, maybe where the Marleyan people are, where it's safe? Maybe they're going to abandon Paradise Island because, like, I mean, the walls have been destroyed.
I definitely feel that's happening.
There's still rogue titans out there that are just like wandering around. There's no defenses, and also the ending, the closing credits of each of the episodes this season has been showing this like abandoned empire, all these ruins and stuff, and the different rooms being in tatters and nature taking over. So I have a feeling like Paradise Island is going to be abandoned, and that they're setting John up to take a leadership role, or to see him be a leader in this battle, and then he'll get his wish to retire and live his happy little picket fence kind of like fantasy. I that's at least what I would hope for him, because I think he's earned it.
Oh yeah, I really do feel like I've been saying it again, as I said before, since like season 3, part 2. John has become like my favorite character in the show, and I kind of like what you said, Akasan, the shift between Aaron being the main character to maybe a potential John. I could even see him being kind of teed up to be like a John Connor type character where he leads the people out of the
I could
ashes
see
and out
that.
of the rubble and out
Yeah.
of this entire situation. And I also like what you said, Marta, as far as his vision or his dream. I rewinded this just because I'm a psycho. I rewinded the dream a few times, and if you squint really hard and like tilt your head super sideways, you could maybe argue that's a Mikasa, and that he's dreaming about Mikasa.
Oh,
I
I
totally
think it
thought,
was.
yeah, I
I
totally
totally thought it
yeah.
Oh,
was.
really?
Oh,
No way.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was
thought
the only one.
No,
No,
that was
no,
like
no.
from the beginning, because he's always been into
Yeah.
Mikasa
He has,
from the
yeah.
beginning. And so like he was like, yeah, I really like your hair. And then Eden was like, yo, Mikasa, cut your hair. So,
I don't
yeah.
think he's gonna end up with Mikasa. I don't think
Nah.
that part of the dream is gonna be fulfilled. But
Yeah.
I would hope that at least he gets a happy ending. But also, I think too, I don't think he's going to go up against Eden. I don't think he's going to be a part of that. I don't think he's a big enough adversary to need to go up against Eden. I think he's going to play a more background, like you said, saving the people, moving them forward after this entire thing goes down.
I think that's what I like about him, is that he's more of a logic based type dude. He's more of like, hey, let's evacuate these people, or hey, back in season 4, part 1, when he was like, let's keep damage to a minimum. We're not trying to kill our own people here. They're literally our own people. That's what he told Flock. And then I love the scene with him and Gabby in the airship, where he had this kind of situation placed on him as a leader, and Flock is like, hey, let's toss these kids out an airship. And he had to be like, why would we kill kids right now? Like, is that really going to get us anything? Is that going to get us actual justice?
Well, I wouldn't have minded if he did that to Gabby. I'm just saying.
We don't know what Gabby's going to do.
There we go.
Gabby could do
I love to
something
hate her.
still.
I love to hate her. I
Yeah.
love to hate Gabby.
Gabby had a good Gabby had a good turnaround. She's also being like, I think a lot of people forget the fact that the season 4 started with her and I keep calling him Harold, but the one who
Falco?
became the Falco. Is it Falco?
Falco, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so what's the name of the Joker dude?
Flock.
Oh God. Falco,
I know.
Flock, with all these European names. No, anyways, but like it started with them. They started the beginning of season 4. So, you know, don't sleep on Gabby. Like she's a very intricate part. Like I'm still under the theory that she is a product of Eden somehow, some way. Like she's like a child of Eden, either symbolically or literally, because there's just way too many times where she is doing exactly the same thing that Eden did, young Eden was doing. And I'm just like, yo, what? Okay.
Yeah, she could definitely play a role potentially in the future. We tease up to what is the plan. I like what you said, Akasan, too, where it's like, how do you stop an Aaron? And even any question like, do we talk to him? And even if we talk to him, what if he just says no? Like, how do we kill him? And if we do try and kill him, will you, and she points at Mikasa, try and stop me? Do you think that is that teasing up a potential, point where Mikasa has to choose between killing Eren or saving the rest of the world?
It's an eventuality, I think, that will happen at some point in time. So and this is like, let's not kid ourselves. This is a very uneasy alliance that's going on right now. It just happens to be that way. Even as Bagaf was kind of mentioning, he's like, well, if you guys had some sort of sense early on and kept us from, if it helped, and actually instead of and stopped Zeke and Eden from even getting together, we wouldn't even be in this mess right now like that. So, but it's a very interesting situation, because it's kind of like everybody has their own opinions and nobody is really right or wrong. It's just that everybody is coming from a different point perspective, and also has a huge sort of history in their mind of what happened 2,000 years ago, what happened with Eden's mom, things like that. It's so interesting how everybody has a different point, and like you can't really argue because everybody has blood on their hands at this point. It's just like, it's like real life war. It's kind of just like, at what point does the fighting stop and an uneasy ceasefire come to exist? Because even if Eden stops, what Willie said, Will Tiber said, look, they were going to come roll in on Paradise Island anyways. So it's like, man, it just doesn't stop regardless. So this might be the best way.
Yeah, what do you
But
think,
genocide
Martha?
is wrong. apparently, yeah.
I think I'm trying to look at it from a writer's perspective. I'm an English creative writing major, so I'm trying to, like, my gut wants to say, like, yeah, it's going to be a problem down the line. But at the same time, this show has thrown us some really fun curveballs. So if I was the writer, I think I would consider this a red herring. And that the decision ultimately would be super simple, and there wouldn't be any question. And I think, if I was the writer, I would probably want to write, and then also in consideration of the anime, I would love to see a scene of Mikasa and Eren duking it out, and either Mikasa goes or Eren goes. I think that would make for really interesting television, really interesting writing, and a fun curveball. But that's just me.
And then they make a child and call it Ymir.
Yeah. And then it restarts again.
Yeah, basically. Exactly.
Pretty much. I also feel like that's a purposeful thing with the whole Levi situation. I think they purposefully took Levi out of commission so that weight and responsibility of being like the super warrior assassin is on Mikasa and not on Levi, considering he's probably not going to be at full strength ever again, probably at the way he's done. So I think that responsibility as far as these kind of major fights is going to be on her potentially in the future. We get to the plan, which is them reaching the port and getting to the flying boat. I love that they keep calling it the flying boat. We still don't know what it is. Based off the tarp, it kind of looks like a chopper, like a helicopter.
I thought it was clear. I thought it was just an airship.
Is that no? I thought they said it was something like else, like a special technology that they call the flying boat.
I could have sworn they referred to this like last season or part one of part one, and the fact that they needed the mining materials that's found on Paradis to use as fuel, and then they showed it. And then that chick licked their lips like a snake. She was like, I was like, ooh.
I was like, all right. That.
Yeah. And they showed a tarp over it, and they said it's the special technology from the Azuma B2s called the flying boat, and it based off the
it's probably like a B2 bomber
shape
ish type of thing. Yeah,
it kind of looked like some sort of helicopter or something that was resembling that. So I think their plan is to use that to fly over the Titans and I don't know, drop Mikasa down.
Whatever.
Or maybe it'll have the thunder spheres attached to it.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I mean, it really is. I'm sure it's going to be something like out of God of War or a God of War or Monster Hunter, where like they're going to drop them off on Eden's back, and then that essentially is like the world that they're in for the next couple of episodes or movie. But then they get teleported to some anime type of dream sequence, like Thanos and Gamora, young Gamora, and so you're going to see like Eden, like you're going to be in another dream world type of sequence, and that's how the show basically ends, and it'll be all Evangelion-ish. Like all I'm saying is like in my
sounds great to me.
All I'm saying is in my experience, y'all, like when it comes to animes and endings, like never expect anything to make sense, and a lot of it is going to be left into interpretation. Like Evangelion, the biggest example I've ever had as a anime watcher is Evangelion. Like they've ended Evangelion like 2 or 3 times, and none of the endings have ever satisfied anybody. So all I'm warning you new anime fans in general is that Japanese writing is always made to have some sort of interpretation at the end. And from what I've heard, are the responses to the manga have not really been that positive. Like it's been this sort of thing of just like people are like, "Ugh, okay," like that. So
Wow.
I'm pretty sure like nobody was cheering for joy. Same thing with Demon Slayer. Like as far as I could tell, with the because Demon Slayer also finished.
Yeah.
The feeling that I've seen from people is like, oh yeah, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. Japanese do not get overly enthusiastic about things in about manga or talking about stuff. But from what I could tell, they're like, oh yeah, it was good. It was they had a nice, pleasing feeling to it. But when Attack on Titan ended, like nobody talked about it in a sense of like they were happy about it. And from what my girlfriend was just like, ugh, like she was not really feeling it. So I feel like it's gonna be one of these like spiritual things that are going to be left to discussion afterwards of like, okay, well, why did this have to happen, or did this particularly happen this way? And who knows. I feel like we're going to get a Evangelion style ending, which nobody will know what the hell just happened, so we'll see.
Yeah. I'm prepping for it, man. I feel like that's exactly what we're gonna get, and I'm already
like don't like
mindset.
that's all I can say is like, because I don't know, I honestly have been avoiding everything about it, but I think there's also a reason why I haven't been able to get spoiled, because usually when somebody will spoil, they'll basically just blurt it out like this person dies or whatever, or blah 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 loses a finger or whatever, like, and then you can like easily spoil the ending. But I think there's a reason why a lot of us haven't been able to get spoiled, because of the fact that it's too hard to spoil it in one word. So like it's gonna be some sort of like interpretation situation of like, okay, what just happened here, what, like that. It's that same situation, just like Game of Thrones. You can't really spoil the end of Game of Thrones, because without knowing everything leading up to it, there's not really like, how do you spoil Game of Thrones in one word? You can't, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly think that's what's going to happen, is a lot of stuff's going to happen, and you're going to just be left with like this interpretation of basically the ending of the what we keep seeing at the end of each episode. Young Eren with the Mikasa scarf, and we see the remains of Paradis Island. It's going to be something to that effect. We've been seeing it. It's just not going to make sense until the final episode or movie. Knowing that the movie, like that. So
The movie, which is definitely even crazier to see that in the big film, in the big screen. I mean, that'll definitely be something. Marta, what do you think as far as a potential plan for them stopping Eren?
Oh gosh.
Kick him in the nuts. Which technically is where Zeke is located right now.
Oh, so. Yeah, we were talking about that before. We think that's where Zeke is.
Probably.
Oh gosh. That's been a question I've been asking myself for the last 2 seasons. Too. The 3 seasons, because if we can include part 1 as a separate season. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, to me, the whole surprise about the time travel thing was like really awesome. So gosh, that just like for me felt like it came out of nowhere in a good way, in a nice surprise way. So what are his vulnerabilities? Well, one of the things I'm thinking about now is the crystallization part, the hardening.
Ooh.
What's up with the hardening? Are they able to do it? Has it been deactivated and taken off the battlefield at this point? Does that make everybody vulnerable to their necks being slashed? At the same time, though, Eren is the biggest monster, the biggest Titan we've ever seen up until this point. I feel like the only kind of weapon that would, like, forget the blades, that's going to be nothing. That's like, trying to cut a freaking boulder with a butter knife. Like, I think maybe it's going to involve a lot of explosives, and definitely it's going to be the Titans. I think it's going to probably maybe culminate in a group attack, a strategic group attack of just Titan power, and maybe a strategic placement of Mikasa to get her to a vulnerable spot behind his neck, if that's even a vulnerable spot at this point. There's also the whole thing to think about with the Ymir's form, and that it was this like interesting like centipede like creature. So I don't even know what vulnerabilities that would have. Would it be like slowly chipping away at its spine? Is it vulnerable all along the spine? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I also go back to.
I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, I don't think it's going to come down to talking him down. I think talking him down is like not going to happen. That's not going to work. He's going to laugh at them. And maybe, I mean, the only other like big thing that I can think of aside from like the the spears and stuff is Ottoman and his ability to just turn into a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
So is it going to be maybe strategically placing him somewhere inside Eren and like
just
blow him up from the inside out, and then someone is going to go eat him or so? I don't know.
I also feel like that's now that you bring it up, every Titan kind of has their special power. Maybe they'll just try all of them to see, which one works. But I keep going back to the importance of a character like Falco. And I keep thinking about why he inherited the jaw. And we know the jaw has that special power to break through the crystal and to break through the hardening with its claws and with its teeth. So I kind of feel like Falco is kind of either teasing up to potentially inheriting the founder from Eren as far as eating Eren, or maybe being the one to take Eren out. Maybe
that's fair enough. Because again,
maybe play
it opened
a really
with him.
big role.
Yeah.
Because remember, season 4 opened with Falco looking at the birds the same way Eren was looking at the birds flying around like that. So that's very possible.
That's true.
Yeah. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Now that I think about it, he also said, "I was screaming at the Titans that I'll kill you all." Right? That's what he said. Isn't that what he said? Like, I was screaming at Titans and flying with swords. And now that I think of it, maybe I just spoiled it for myself.
that sounds like something Gabby would say, but
that's
I don't
true.
know about, I don't know. Yeah,
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. I'm not. Are you talking about Falco or Eren?
Falco. Yeah, when Falco was daydreaming.
I feel like I would have remembered it because that's such an Eren thing to say. Like,
right? Yeah.
Like,
I think he said he was.
Gabby be doing. Yeah.
I think he said he was flying though. I think he said I was flying with swords or something like that.
That's what the first thing was, the beginning part. Maybe, but you know what? What I was gonna say was, what if all the remaining Titans formed together to make Voltron?
Voltron Titan.
And I become the head, colossal Titan, jaw Titan, female Titan, like that.
What if it's Mikasa? Yeah. What if Mikasa's the one that inherits everything?
Yeah, and she'll be the one controlling it. Yeah, she'll be.
Then,
from what I've been told, maybe they might be immune to it. Maybe. I keep hearing rumor that the Ackermans are actually immune to even inheriting Titans. So
that might be true.
But I don't know, because they're immune to the manipulation from the king and from Ymir. Right. They are still subjects of, they're children of Ymir, but they're immune to, for whatever reason, they're immune to Ymir's memories wipes. Yeah. Which is a whole nother thing.
I feel like that'll come into play too. Maybe when Eren tries doing,
I certainly hope
mind
so.
control
That'd be
thing.
Interesting. Oh, what if they what if at the end, the memories of everyone except anyone that has Ackerman blood gets wiped, and that's why Paradise Island is abandoned. Ooh. Like they move everyone over and they just kind of unite the country, because at the end of the day too, season 4 part 1 was stressing the fact that there's this whole world war going on, and they're not in a very good position by splitting up their forces, and they're being attacked from all sides. So maybe the strategic beneficial thing to do that they might come to a consensus after everything is said and done with this whole Aaron, genocide pickle, is that it would be in the best interest of the people of Ymir and the leftover Marlians to join forces, wipe everyone's memory so there's no like racism amongst them, and abandon Paradise Island because it's destroyed, and there's like, they have bigger fish to fry.
I just love that. I love that thought process of like, you can't have racism if everybody's dead. You can't be racist. You can't have racism. Racism can't exist if there's nobody around to be racist against.
Well, you know what I mean? Like they wipe their memories, and they don't hate each other anymore. They're not putting the subjects of Ymir in internment camps anymore.
Yeah.
They freed them from the internment camps, and they join society and go after their other common enemies in their surrounding.
I think what's cool though is that we're able to theorize at this point, kind of like you said, Akasan, because we haven't been spoiled, but also because there's only a couple episodes left. There's only so much we can possibly do at this point. But honestly, guys, this was a blast. I can't believe an hour has passed by, but I appreciate you guys just coming on and talk about it after you just saw the episode, and right as soon as you were uploading the video and the reaction. So I really do appreciate your time to come on this show and to talk about Attack on Titan with me. I want to see where everyone can find you. So I'll start with you, Marta. Where can everyone find you on social media?
I have Instagram. It's Marta G. Is it official? Hold on a second. I need to check my own social media. My bad. It's Marta G official. So it's that official. Awesome. No underscores, no nothing. And then I also stream on YouTube. I stream gaming like about once a week at youtube.com/MartaG.
Awesome. And Akasan, where can everyone find you, man?
Everybody can find me. Generally, the main channel is Comics Plus by Akasan. So I try to upload at least 2 or 3 times a week on there. And little reactions here or there. We're going to try to get into some podcasting fairly soon. We recorded one episode right at this moment in time. I just need to get it edited and all that. And then after that, the other place you can find me is on Twitch, where I'm there daily almost. Currently playing Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West. So if you want to see me reenact the walls of Shigashima and go after some Titan-like people on a horse, it's crazy, man. Sesame! Like that. Yeah. It's great. You can check me out on Akasan_plays. I think, Akasan_plays. It's like that. And of course, if you want to hear my bad takes on everything, you can check me out on Twitter, which is simply put Akasan. That's if you want to hear me complain about the Batman movie and some other things, I'm on that, and Akasan JP on Instagram if you want to see me talk about Japanese gravure idols. If you want to see the Japanese side of Akasan, which consists of just sexy women and like panty stuff and things like that.
I love how that's just the Japanese side of it.
It's it really is. Shout outs to Crunchyroll for giving me this thing to I don't even know what it is. It's like I guess it's the English translated version of Jujutsu Kaisen Ray. What are you guys calling it in America? Zero or Ray?
Yeah, Zero. Yeah.
Okay, so Jujutsu Kaisen Zero comes out
March 18th.
March 18th, thank you. Comes out March 18th. And
as I'm wearing the Jujutsu Kaisen shirt.
Hey, there you go. So it's so weird because they sent me the English version of it. And so I need to watch it. But I saw it like months ago, in theaters. So shout outs to Crunchyroll for that hookup there. But so those are all my social medias, and I'll be posting as much as possible here.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys coming on. Either way, guys, for the Attack on Titan crew, you can subscribe here at First Cut TMO. Also on social media at Squad Leader Ace. So make sure you guys go follow me there as well. But either way, guys, for the Attack on Titan crew, we're going to be peacing out. So peace out, guys. Peace.
Peace.